Shavua Tov, everyone. The mitzvah in the Torah about Kibud Av Va'em is very famous. It's in the Ten Commandments, right? Everyone knows about it, even non-Jews. I want to show, with the time that we have, a few things about the meaning of the mitzvah and even practical, not just philosophical ideas, practical things and the benefit of it, not just for the parents, because when there is a topic like this, honor your parents, the parents eager to come because they will know how their children are supposed to honor them. We have to know that not everyone is a parent, but everyone is a kid of parent. And we have to know the idea just even before for ourselves. Because the mitzvah of Kibud Av Va'em is not a mitzvah, it's a mitzvah that you're supposed to do it the entire life. We have to honor our parents not just when they're alive, but even when after they passed away. So this is what I wanted to speak about, is the mitzvah of Kibud Av Va'em from the point of view of the child, not from the point of view of the parent, and the benefit of the child from it. So one of the things that we have to know is the following. There is a mitzvah, as it's mentioned in Aseret HaDibot, Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha. Right? We have it on the Ten Commandments. Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha. But there is another mitzvah who connected to this. It's a different mitzvah in the Torah, relate also to the parents. It's called Mitzvat Mora Av Va'em. And it's mentioned in Parashat Kedoshim, in Sefer Vayikra. Let me quote the pasuk. וידבר השם אל משה לאמור, דבר אל כל עדת בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם קדושים תהיו, כי קדוש אני השם אלוהיכם. איש אמו ואביו תיראו, ואת שבתותיי תשמורו, אני השם אלוקיכם. And this mitzvah is the mitzvah of having an awe toward our parents. It's two different things. We have to honor them, and we have to be in awe, to stand in awe, but not just stand, even sit. To awe them. It's a morah, yir'ah, but not yir'ah of fear, but yir'ah of respect. So it's two different mitzvot in the Torah. Many people are aware of the first one, kabed et avicha ve'et imecha, but they do not know about the morah. And there are two different mitzvot with different ways to perform them. So we have to learn to understand what kibud is, what kavod is, and what morah is. Okay? Now be aware to another thing. And for this I will quote again the two verses in the Torah. Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha. You're aware of the fact that the father is first. Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha. Right? First the father. But when we go to Parashat Kedoshim about the morah, about the yir'ah, it says, Ish imo ve'aviv tirau. First the mother, then the father. So it's not just for nothing. There is a deep thing for it. The Gemara says that in the nature of a person, people more respect their mothers, and they have more yir'ah, more fear or awe to their fathers. This is the nature of a person. And there are reasons for this. And because of this, the Torah says that Hashem says to us, we have to be mechabed, respect our father before our mother. I mean, the Torah mentioned this before because it's not the natural thing to do. And the same thing about the yirah, because the natural thing is to respect the mother, but not to fear or have an awe to the mother. Therefore, the Torah says, Ish imo ve'aviv tirau. So what we learning through this, and this is very important principle over here, that they are both equal. For the morah and for the kavod. They are equal. According to this, now we have to see, and one of the practical implications will be, what if you have to choose what to do first? Your father asks you to do something, your mother asks you to do something, what do you have to do first? Right? So that relate to those two things. But to the Mora and the Kavod and the halachot of them. Let's start from the Kavod and try to understand what Kavod is. What altogether, what is Kavod? How do you respect? What do you mean Kavod? Now, translated to English is always diminishing the meaning of the word. In Hebrew, every word has meaning. When you translate it, you lose it almost. Okay? So, in order to understand any notion in Hebrew, in Lashon HaKodesh, in the Holy Language, you have to know the root of the word. So let's go to the root of those two words, Kavod and Yirah. What is the root? The root of Kavod are the letters Kaf, Bet, and Dalet, which, if you take them, they are creating a word by itself in Hebrew, Kaved. Kaved is heavy, right? Now, what is heavy? In the physical dimension, when I speak about heavy stuff or light stuff, we're talking about heavy in weight, right? But in the abstract discussion, when I speak about heavy stuff, heavy things, right? I'm talking about something that's important versus something that's not important. So in Hebrew we say davar kvad mishkal or davar kal erech, something that's not important, right? So the bottom line is, what is kavod? Kavod is parallel to chashuv, important. Okay, now let's define what's important. When you say that something is important, to define it, we have to understand that important is always a relative notion that could be explained or understood only when you have something to compare it to, right? What makes something important? So what will be the definition of chashivut, of importance? What makes something important? So the definition is the following. When you have something that other things dependent in their existence in it, so it makes it more important than the others because they are dependent in it, but this thing is not dependent in them. So relatively important things are things that always other things depended in them, in it, in order to exist. So according to that, we could understand the idea of honoring your parents. Why do you have to honor your parents? Because without them, you will not exist. Your existence is up to them. And we have to know that there is, and the Rambam brings in the Halacha, that there is another mitzvah in the Torah to honor Hashem. We have to respect Hashem, to honor Hashem. It comes from the same thing, and there is something very interesting. Over here, it's hard to see the Ten Commandments, right? But if you set them, they are in two tablets, right? The Ten Commandments. If you look at them, you will see that those who are in the right side, most of them relate to things, to the mitzvot that between a person to God. Like, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. Hashem says, I'm your God, right? Lo yeh lecha Elohim acherim al panai. Lo tisa et Shem Hashem Elokecha lashav. If you go to the other side, you'll find that all of them are relation between people, right? Lo tirtzach, lo tignov, lo tinaf. It's between people. So the left side is mitzvot sheben adam lachavero, right? Between a person and their fellows. But if you go to the right side, you will see that it's between Hashem and us. But here it's very interesting that the last one in the right side is kabed et avicha ve'et imecha. And many people could think that kabed et avicha ve'et imecha because we're talking about people, right? So maybe it's a mitzvah sheben adam lachavero. Mitzvah, right? It's not. We have to know that. Mitzvat kibud avayim, is not a mitzvah sheben adam lachavero, it's a mitzvah sheben adam lamakom. How? And here's the deep thing about it. It says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu hishva kvodam lekvodo. He made it equal. The same way that you're supposed to honor your parents, you're supposed to honor Hashem. And the understanding of it is a famous Gemara in Masechet Kiddushin. The Gemara says, Shlosha shutafim ba'adam. There are three partners in the creation of every human being. אביו ואימו והקדוש ברוך הוא. The father and the mother and God. It's divided this way. The first man was created, as the Torah says, ויצר השם אלוקים את האדם עפר מן האדמה, dust from earth, ויפח באפיו נשמת חיים. So Adam and Chava were the only human beings that never had a parent. I mean, they were created by God, right? But after Hashem created them, after Hashem separated Chava from Adam, because in the beginning they were in the same entity, in the same body. When Hashem divided them, Hashem created ability for them to multiply, to duplicate themselves, right? But we have to know that it's only the physical part. Today we know more about the DNA, right? So the DNA is a combination of the contribution of the father and the mother. But this belongs to the body, to the physical dimension of the human being. Our soul is not something that we get from our parents. Our soul is the part of God. So because, and let's go now to the principle, because you exist, become to exist, because of those three partners, from your point of view, they are equal. Because without even one of them, you could not exist. Even though for sure, if you talk about them, there is a difference between them and God, because Hashem created not just you, He created even your parents, right? But it doesn't matter from your point of view. From your point of view, without each one of them, you could not exist. Therefore, and because we defined before that chashuv, what makes something important, chashuv, when things are dependent in them. So therefore, we have to be machshiv, to honor, to respect those three equally. Hashem, the father, and the mother. Another thing that we have to know, that it doesn't matter whatsoever if they were nice to you or not nice to you. Because you know, this value of honoring your parents, it's international. I mean, many societies will agree that it is a good thing to do. It's a value, right? But when you ask people, tell me, why to honor your parents? What's the reason? Not from Torah point of view. Let's take other society, not Jews, okay? And ask them, you're supposed to respect your parents, to honor your parents, why? Why? So many people will answer, you know what? You owe them a favor. They delivered you, they brought you up, they took care of you when you were helpless as a baby, so therefore you owe them. It's hakarat tov. You have to give them back. Many people will answer, will think this is the answer why you have to honor your parents. But if this is the reason, what if the parents are not good to their children? They are very selfish parents that do not like they didn't invest in the kids. They put it to adoption, or more than that, they abuse the child. Of course, you should be sick to do it, but we are in sick society, and there are such a phenomenon, and it's not one or two. So, if the base of honoring the parents, if they were nice to you, what if they're not nice to you? Are you patur? Are you do not obligated to honor them? So many people answer, yes, for sure. No, of course not. We have to know that it's not true according to the Torah. Honoring your parents, mora and kavod, is unconditioned, and it's not up to if they were nice to you or not. More than that, we could see in the halakha that even if they really abused you, you still need to honor them. It's hard to perform such a thing in this case, but this is the mitzvah. It's unconditioned. Why? Because it's not because what they did to you. It's not a mitzvah sheben adam lachavero. It's a mitzvah sheben adam lamakom. And the reason for it is the following. Without them, you will not exist. And because your life important to you, if your life important to you, so you owe this to the reasons that make it possible that you will be here. Unconditioned. And even if they were... Now, we have to differentiate between respecting to love your parents. There is no mitzvah to love your parents. And of course, if they were abusive to you, you do not have to love them. But you still obligated to honor them. The most horrible thing, spiritually, that parents could do to a kid is to bring this kid to the world in a not right way. Like making him a mamzer. When parents choose to do something that causes that a person will come to the world like a mamzer. I don't know how to translate it exactly to English. There is such a thing. Bastard, it's more a klala. It's not a mamzer.
Basically, someone that's out of a forbidden marriage.
Right.
The child therefore has an issue. Yeah, and then
Okay, the definition, let me give you some example.
give a specific.
A brother and sister that has a relation and the baby come out of it. He's a mamzer. Or the classical case is someone who had a relationship with a married lady.
Had an affair and they had a
With a married lady. So the baby is a mamzer. Now this mamzer, according to the Judaism, is in so bad situation. He could not marry anyone. He could marry only a mamzeret. He could not marry anyone. And he is, for sure, he's not, you cannot blame him. So who did this to them? Their parents. In this case, you have to honor your parents? Somebody like this have to honor their parents? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Not because you owe them something. They did something terrible to you. But they bring you to the world. And now, it's up to, I assumed before that everyone liked to be here. There are people who do not like to be here. But most people who like to, it's important for them to live. So we have to ask why it's so important to live. What's the big deal? Why? So instinctively, everyone wants to live. Every creature, every living creature, even animals, they have an instinct to live. But as human beings, we have to understand that to live is the opportunity to create yourself. And this opportunity could not be here without the parents. Therefore, even in the worst case, talking about extreme cases, that the parents were not good, they were abusive, physically, spiritually, you still have to honor them. Therefore, Kibud Avayim is one of the very hard mitzvos in the Torah to perform. I'm taking here extreme, but you have to know even in normal cases, it's very hard to honor your parents. It's not just a slogan. It's not just a nice phrase. When you go to the halakha lema'aseh, to practical things, let me show you what the halakha obligated us to do to our parents when they are alive and even after they passed away. It's one of the hardest mitzvot in the Torah. I'll tell you another thing. The Gemara says that this mitzvah is so... You know what, let's start from the positive. First of all, it's a very important mitzvah in a way that if you do it right, everybody knows the Mishnah that we say in the praying in the morning, אלו דברים שאדם אוכל פירותיהם בעולם הזה, והקרן קיימת לו לעולם הבא. The mitzvah, the rewards about the mitzvah could not be given in the currency of this world, because it's too big. So there is no reward on mitzvahs in this world, only in the world to come, because the world to come is the world of eternity, without limits. But there are few mitzvahs that the Torah says that if you do it right over here, of course the reward is in the world to come, in the eternity world. But the fruits of them, the dividends of them, you could get in this world. One of those mitzvot is kibud avayim. אלו דברים שאדם אוכל פירותיהם. There are a list of things that a person could eat, quote, quote, the fruits, the dividends in this world, והקרן קיימת לו לעולם הבא. And the base is, the reward will be only in the world. So what are they? The first one is כיבוד אבאים. כיבוד אבאים. וגמילות חסדים והבאת שלום בין אדם לחברו. ותלמוד תורה כנגד כולם. So, first of all, it's a big mitzvah when you do it right. But because it's not easy to do it, some of the Tanaim in the Gemara says, let me quote to you from Masechet Kiddushin, בדף ל"א. It's not Tanaim, it's Amoraim. Rabbi Yochanan אמר Rabbi Yochanan, אשרי מי שלא חמאן. It's better for a person that he never saw in his life his parents. So therefore he could not be not behaving right toward them. And Rabbi Yochanan said that, and Rabbi Yochanan himself, the Gemara says, Rabbi Yochanan himself, כי איברתו עמו מת אביו. When his mother became pregnant, his father passed away. When his mother delivered him, she passed away. So he never saw his parent. And he saw, in a way, it's terrible, you know, to be born an orphan. But in a way, he said, I'm lucky because I never has the test or the challenge how to behave to my parents, if I did it right or not. So, why it's so hard? When you go to the details of what is the meaning of kabed et avicha ve'et imecha, or ish imo ve'aviv tira, what is the meaning of respecting or awe? Look at the halachot, let's see, just to get a taste. Ezu umora, I'm quoting from the Rambam, בהלכות ממרים, שמה, there he speaks about the הלכות כיבוד אב ואם, and he says the following, איזה הוא מורה ואיזה הוא כבוד. Mora. So, what is the definition of both? He started from the Mora. What is the meaning of ish imo ve'aviv tira? What Mora is? Mora. And he brings here a list of things. לא עומד במקומו, ולא יושב במקומו, ולא סותר את דבריו, ולא מכריע את דבריו, ולא יקרא לו בשמו, לא בחייו ולא במותו. Let me explain. First of all, you have to remember, I don't want to repeat this again and again, as we said before, that the mother and the father are equal. So if he speaks over here, he speaks about both. So the halakha, and this is halakha lema'aseh, לא עומד במקומו. You're not allowed to stand in the place of your father or your mother. What is the meaning of this? What do you mean? His place. So practically, he's speaking over here about Tfilat Shmoneh Esrei. When you have to daven Shmoneh Esrei, to pray Shmoneh Esrei, you're standing in shul or at home. If the father or the mother has certain place that they're standing over there to do Shmoneh Esrei, the child are not allowed to stand in this place because of the awe. That belongs to the awe, not to the respect. The awe. Because, you know, if there is a king and the king has a throne, you never sit on the throne of the king. From awe. So, לא עומד במקומו ולא יושב במקומו. לא יושב במקומו, everybody knows, you know, in Shabbat table, right? There is a place of the father, a place of the mother. The child are not allowed to sit or stand in the place of the father and the mother. So, apparently this is easy. Okay, just don't stand there. There is enough room, right? But the other are very hard. Look at the following. איזה הוא מורה? לא עומד במקומו ולא יושב במקומו. ולא סותר את דבריו ולא מכריע את דבריו. Let me explain this, and this is very hard to do. לא סותר את דבריו, never ever, under any situation, you're not allowed to say to your parent, you're not right. It's not right. That's called סותר את דבריו. About anything that they're doing, even if you know 100% that he's wrong or she's wrong. Never, ever. You're not allowed to say to your parents, you're wrong. You're wrong. And this is part of the awe. Even if you know that they are wrong. Of course, if they believe that they are right and they're doing something that could harm them, you should do things to prevent them to do it. But never told them in their face you are wrong. Never. This is easy compared to the next one. לא סותר את דבריו ולא מכריע את דבריו. What's מכריע את דבריו? Be aware of the following. This is amazing. לא מכריע את דבריו, as we said before, you're not allowed to say to your parent, father or mother, you're wrong. You know what? Also, you're not allowed to say to your parents, you're right. Let me explain. There is some guest came home, friends of your parents. They're sitting in the living room. They're talking about doesn't matter what, even the most stupid stuff in the world like politics or sports, whatever. And they got to argument. Not you. You are sitting in the side. And it doesn't matter if you're 4 years old, 40 years old, or 80 years old. Doesn't matter. Your parents arguing with their friends. And they got to a real argument, and your father or your mother say something, and the friends say the opposite. You're not allowed to involve and say, Daddy, you're right. Mommy, you're right. You're right. You're not allowed to say. Of course, you're wrong. But even you're right. Why? Because you're not in a position to give them marks, to decide that they're good or not good, they're right or wrong. This is part of the Morah. And this is Isur D'Oraita. You have to know. That's why it's so hard. It's really, you are not allowed to tell your parents you're wrong or you're right. Another thing, I'll try to explain later on why, but practically, without reasons, this is the halakha. The other thing, you are not allowed ever to call your parents in their name, in their private name. Never. Not in his life and not after they passed away. From awe. All of this is not respecting, it's awe. The kavod we will see later. First we're talking about yir'ah. And this is part of the yir'ah. All those 5 things. Now, the question is why? Because, again, we have to know, the Torah are not giving you recommendations. It's nice to do that. The Torah, Hashem says to us what to do and what not to do. And anyone who are not taking it seriously and just not doing it, over avera. And this is avera deoraita. It's not the Rabbanan, deoraita mamash. And as we said, if you do it right, it's so important that you get the dividends, the benefit of it, even in this world. Not the reward, but the benefit. But if you do it wrong, you better that you never saw your parents in your life. Now the question is why? It's not for the parents. It's for the child. And again, it doesn't matter if this child is 4 years old, 40 years old, 8 years old. It doesn't matter. Now, why? Why Hashem so specific and sensitive to the honor and the yir'ah of the parents? You know why? For you, for your own benefit. And let me explain this. I spoke about it a little bit this afternoon in Hebrew, but I repeated this because some of the people didn't hear it. Hashem created us in the image of God. And the meaning of being in the image of God, B'Tzelmo Kidmuto, is one thing, that the same way Hashem is almighty in a way that no one will tell him what to do. No reason to force him to do something. Hashem gave us this gift, which is in a way very good, in another way could have very not good implications. Each one of us is B'Tselem Elokim, therefore each one of us thinks that I'm important, which is true, and I want to be in charge of my life. No one will tell me what to do. When I feel that I always do what people told me to do, telling me to do, I feel that I'm out of the picture. So I want to express myself, right? Now, because of this, and Jews are more fit this character, we are very strong-minded. Jews are very strong-minded. Actually, it's a human nature to be a strong-minded. When you have your opinion, meaning you express your personality, yourself. You're expressing yourself by, I will decide what I think, what I want, what's important to me, what's not important to me. Therefore, it's very hard for each individual to ask other people what to do. I mean, even when they are her authority, it's hard to get instructions from authority. And it's, again, where I want to decide what I want to do. Now, some people even, skip getting advices from people, from other people, because why should I ask you what to do? I could do it myself. I could decide myself. When people will be, even strong-minded people, will be willing already to get advice from someone. Because in a way, you're giving up your personality, your way of thinking. Why are you asking somebody else? So what will cause me to advise someone? Only when I think that this person in this area is knowledgeable more than me. And I'm trusting his opinion. Right? Only. If I will not have this feeling, I will never listen to anyone else. Because who cares what you think? What about my opinion? I have my own opinion. So in order to ask someone opinion, you have to be humble. And it doesn't, at least in this particular area, you are humble. You know that you know less than this person. And you trust his judgment, his or her judgment, okay? When I'm going to a doctor and ask about some problem, if I could solve the problem myself, I will never go to a doctor. Not just to a doctor, to any professional. I could do it myself. When I realize that my knowledge is limited, I'm going to someone that I trust or think that he is more than me. Right? This is a condition. Without it, you will never expect any or take any other person idea. Therefore, for the benefit of the child, or in any age, for his benefit, to grow healthy, he has to have someone that he or she trusts, and know that they know better than him. And even more than that, it's not just that they know more than me. You have to really trust their caring about you and their loving to you. Their love to you. In healthy relationships, that should be the relationships with parents and a child. Parents investing so much in the child, if again, we're talking about healthy situation, in a way that for this child, since he is a baby, he or she, they know that their parents love them. They know that their parents wants to do the best for them. And therefore, they will get from them. They will be ready to listen or to learn from them. Now, this is a necessity for a person to grow with healthy personality. Therefore, and here's the mistake that we exposed in this generation. In our generation, it's very popular to be liberal. Liberal means the parents should be the friends of their child. They're not authority. They should be friends with them. Don't even tell them what to do. Offer them. Okay? This attitude, it sounds good. This is the most destructive way that ruined completely ability to educate. Because if you is equal like him, why he will listen to you? Why he will listen to you? Again, remember, I will listen even as an adult to someone only when I think he knows better than me. But if he's like me, why should I listen to him? My opinion worth not less than their opinion. And this is the way many people educate their children to raise. I don't say educate. This is the anti-education. Raise their children today. They feel, wow, we're nice. We are not authority. We are friends. Okay. In this case, don't even expect that they will listen to you. The Torah aware of this. Hashem created us. Hashem knows better than anyone else what is the nature of the human being. And one of the benefits in this all strict rules of how to relate to your parent, you have to have a respect from them. Only when you have, and this is not for them, for your own benefit. If you have a respect, you look always at them from down up, and you'll have someone to learn from. Of course, it's applied for sure when you are a baby or a little child. But even, and it could happen, that the child grow and he is very talented. And he might be even at very, very early age, let's say 7, 8, 9, smarter than his parents. Smarter. He knows better. The obligation to respect your parents, even if you realize that they are wrong and you are right, you're not allowed to say you're wrong. It's connected also to the fact that we're talking here about a Jewish. This mitzvah, by the way, it's a Jewish mitzvah, as a mitzvah in the Torah. As you know, even the Goyim has mitzvah that they obligated to do according to our Torah. It's 7 mitzvahs. Sheva mitzvot bnei Noach. Kibud Avayim is not one of them. Is not one of them. It's not one of the Sheva mitzvot bnei Noach. It's connected to the fact that we are Jewish. Why? Because we got a Torah. And the Torah is the wisdom of God. It's not the wisdom of my father or my mother. And when we're talking about people who grew up in the Torah home, so I could be talented than my parents, but when my father or mother instructed me to what to do, they are not saying, you know what, this is our idea. No, they're teaching me Hashem's idea. And Hashem's idea, even if I could understand it even better than them, but there are the tool, they are the way that the Torah got to me. Therefore, I have to respect them. So, why you have to owe from them or respect them? Not just because you exist here, physically, and without them you will not exist physically. Because the job of the parent is not just to deliver or bring to the world technically the baby. This is easy. Every dog and a cat could do that. You have to raise them and educate them. This is a job. This is the obligation of the parent. To not just to bring the kid to the world, but to raise them and build their personalities. It's an obligation of the parent. In order for them to do that, the child must respect them. Because if he will think that he is equal to them, he will never accept them. If he will not accept them, he will never be educated. He will do whatever he wants, he or she. So this is the kavod. You cannot, as I said, the last thing is you're not allowed to call your parents in their name. Why? Because name is getting closer to a person. In every first classes in PR, public relations, they teach you, you want their business to be successful? Try to remember the names of your customers. Even if they come once a year. Even more than that. When they come once a year, then as they show up, you say, hi, Yossi. Hi, David. Hi, Sarah. Right? Why? You know what happened when you are not expecting someone to remember your name? And they say to you, what is doing to you? Wow, I'm important. He remember. He's not supposed to. She's not supposed to remember my name. So it gives you good feelings. And when you respect someone, you're not talking to them and mention their name. The President of the United States, let's say, the President, he is mechubad, he is respectful, should be respectful person, right? So no one just call him in his first name or even his last name. Mr. President, right? That's the way, this is the minimum. Why? In order to make him as an authority. When you relate to someone with a name, it's too intimate. You're too close, and you're not supposed to be too close to your parents. So that's part of the thing that will create the right distance between you and them for your own benefit, that will be someone who are the authority for you to learn. And in a healthy relationship, they should be the most loving person to you, the most caring person to you. You have to trust them and learn from them. And this way you could grow. So this is what relates to yir'ah. What is kavod? Two different things. Yir'ah is yir'ah, kavod is kavod. What is kavod? Ezehu kavod. And here's the halacha in the Rambam. Ma'achil u'mashke, malbish u'mechase, mishel ava'im. Respecting your parents is you have to take care of their needs. You have to make sure that your parents eating well, dressing well. And we could find this, sometimes when you are an adult already and your parents getting old. They're not, when people getting old, they're not updated with the last word in the fashion. And sometimes they're not really dressing in the respect way. It's your obligation to make them have all the basic needs, that they should be respectful. Everything that they need. Food, ma'achil, mashke. Go do shopping for them if they're not able to do it themselves. You have to do it from their money. Because sometimes they have money, but they're not aware of what make them appear respectful, dressing-wise or eating. You have to take care of your parents. This is part of the kavod. You could do it, or you should do it from their money. But what if they have no money and you have money? So if you have money that cover your needs and your family, your children, your wife, you are obligated to take care of them from your own money as a part of the kavod. If they have money, manage their life from their money. But if they do not have money and you have more than you need for your immediate things, you have to do this part of it. Another thing, and this is halakha. Many people do not know this halakha, even people who are keeping mitzvot. You have to stand up every time your parents entering the house or the room. Stand up. It's like, I remember when we were kids, it was in the classroom. When the teacher comes, you have to stand. I don't know if they're doing it today still or not. But when your parents comes to the house, you have to stand up. You're not be, indifference, okay, nothing happened. It's air. No, you have to be aware and show that you're aware by standing. It's all to educate you. It's not for their, they need this kavod. Many parents will tell you, I don't need it. Even if you do not need it for yourself, you need it for your children, for them. When you educate a child, someone give you a candy, what do you say? You have to say thank you. Why? This candy man, or he doesn't need this thank you. Who needs this? The kid. In order to appreciate that not everything he take it for granted. Yeah? No? You have to thank. In Hebrew, to say todah, include two things. Again, the deep meaning of the Hebrew language. It's not just thank you, it's a confirmation. Todah, kshani modeh, when I'm modeh, I'm admitting, I'm confirming, I'm saying yes, right. Yes, right what? Yes, right, I don't deserve it. Thank you for giving it to me. So that make you less selfish. Less, yeah, of course, I deserve it. You deserve nothing. So anyone who really do something for you, you have to, for you, in order to educate you to be a more sensitive, tender, not selfish. So it's more, all this mitzvot is for you, it's not for your parents. And again, it's related to every one of us. Even when we are not kids anymore. You could take a situation when you have a 70 years old that is lucky enough that his mother is still alive and she is 90. He obligated in all these things. Stand up if she could walk and come to the room. Not stand in their place, etc. All those things. Now, another few halachot, there are a lot, but I'll cover another few. We have a few minutes. This halakha of respecting your parents are the same obligation for boys and girls. But there is one difference between boys and girls in doing all these things. Let's see. Let's read the halakha from the Rambam. אחד האיש ואחד האישה חייבים במורא וכבוד. It's applied to a man or a lady. אלא שהאיש יש בידו לעשות והאישה אין בידה לעשות שהרי רשות אחרים עליה. The meaning. If a lady got married, when she's single, she obligated everything to her parents the same way as her siblings, brothers and sisters. Let me give you an example. Imagine a situation when the parents are very old and they could not function by themselves, right? So instead of sending him to a house, the family take care of them, right? So they made, let's say there are 6 kids in the family, 3 boys, 3 girls, right? So they make turns. I will be with them for a week. And I'll take care of them, so they're shopping, everything that they need. So in this way, once in a month and a half, you have your turn. So if you have 6 kids, okay? But if 3 of them are boys, 3 of them are girls, if the girls are single, they are obligated the same way. But if they got married, their first obligation is to their family, the husband and the children. Therefore, in this case, this lady, when she got married, she is going out of the turn. She is not obligated. So the rest will, because she is obligated more to her family. So there are priorities over here. What if chas v'shalom she separated, got divorced, or become a widow? She become obligated again. So this is the only difference between boys and girls. But boys, even when they're married and they have family and they have to take care of the family, they are still obligated to the rest of their life to take care of their parents. Okay, this is the difference between a man and a lady.
Can I
Now,
ask something?
yeah.
So then, say for example, the parents of my husband would come stay with us. He's not the one running around making sandwiches or doing the laundry. It would fall on me, mostly. So, say my sister-in-law, his younger sister, is married. My responsibility towards his parents is larger than hers.
Not really. If she's married?
Yes,
About
that's
to.
what she said.
If she's married, you're right. Because you doing it not an obligation for you toward his parents, but obligation for you to him. To him. So therefore, it's part of the things that, again, but do it happily. Don't be resentful
You
about
know,
it.
Very good thought.
thinking about the balance.
What?
Does this
Okay.
also apply to the same respect for your parents also applies for your in-laws?
This is a good question. In a way, yes. In a way, yes. But I'm not sure that it's in the same level. I'm not sure about this. Actually, from the Rambam, you could not really find it. There are very interesting ways. Let me quote for you an halakha that could be an implication to this. Chayav Adam, this is one of the last halachot over here, actually the last one. Chayav Adam lechabed et eshet aviv. A person should be respect or be mechabed eshet aviv, af al pi she'ena imo. You know, let's say the biological parent separated or one of them passed away, and the other parent marries someone else. The children must respect the spouse of their parents the same way. Why? Because they have to respect the parent, their biological parents, right? So, let me quote it to the end. חייב אדם לכבד אשת אביו אף על פי שאינה עמו כל זמן שאביו קיים. As long as his father is alive. But if he separated from her, divorced her, or passed away, the child is not obligated anymore. Why? Because the obligation is the obligation toward the father. Because of the father, and this is his spouse right now, you have to do all the inyan shel kibud horim, right? So according to this, I don't know, the in-laws, it's the same thing, because, your husband cannot be in the world without his parents. So it's hard, I know. In-laws is a story. But life is to train us, yeah.
I have one question. Sorry to keep cutting you off. Let's just say, and this is totally hypothetical, but you have a woman whose husband doesn't 100% get along with her parents.
Yeah.
Where,
That's very hypothetical. I don't know anyone like this.
Throwing this out there.
Yeah.
So when they're knocking heads, where is her responsibility at that point? Is she, because she's in the middle, obviously. Does she take her husband's side? Is she supposed to be there for her parents? Like, at that point, where is she supposed to be?
It's not her business, Bechlal. It's his business with them. She's not.
Tell her that.
It's not her. I mean, she should strive to a situation that everything will be fine. She should be the peacemaker. But it's not her. Actually, it's not her business. It's between them.
Right, but let's say the husband says to her, I forbid you for going out with, taking my money. Let's say he makes money and the parents need, like, they have extras. And I'm not giving my money to support your parents. It's my money. So is she meant to argue with him and say, no, I need that money, or shalom bayit? I don't argue. It's sometimes
This is a border question that you have to ask a posek.
I think it's more personal. That he's right.
Might be. I don't know. It could be this way or that, the other way. I'm not the person to ask this question.
Right.
I don't know. See, I don't know. When I know, I could say, I don't know. Another last thing before we, just to understand how serious this thing. As we said before, we learned that you're not allowed to say to your parents, no, or you're not right, or even you're right. You're not allowed to say it, right? So here we come to a very, very difficult situation, and that could be really common. What happened if the parents are very old? And sometimes they are not 100% mentally, right? So there's a problem. Why? Because you have to take care of them. But sometimes you have to tell to your parent, to your father or to your mother, don't do that. Because if they will do it, they might harm either themselves or others. You are not allowed to tell them. Because you're not allowed to tell them, don't do that. Or you're not right. You're not allowed to judge their opinions. So what are you going to do in this case? Look at this halacha. מי שנטרפה דעתו של אביו או של אמו. If they got not 100% balance in their mind, in their mental, משתדל לנהוג עמם כפי דעתם עד שירוחם עליהם. He has to try to deal with this. Hopefully it's a temporary thing until Hashem will have mercy on them and heal them. Meaning, you're still obligated to all the halachot, and it's very hard. But if it's a temporary thing, okay, this is your mission in life. This is one of the challenges that you have to face. ואם אי אפשר לא לעמוד, מפני שנשתתו ביותר, if it's too much, they're completely out of any real logical balance mentally, and it's not temporary, what do you have to do? What do you have to do? Look at this. אם אי אפשר לו לעמוד מפני שנשתתו ביותר, יניחם וילך לו. He finds himself telling to his parents, don't do that, it's not good, you're not allowed to do it. But if it becomes so frequent, the best thing is, don't be with them. Just leave them. Because if you will be with them, you are obligated to all the rules, and it's impossible. So what do you mean just go? What are you going to do with them? So you're not allowed to just go. אלא יניחם וילך לו ויצווה אחרים להנהיגם כראוי. You have to hire someone that will take care of them. Because this someone is not obligated to tell them not to do and what to do and what not to do. But you are. Therefore, if it's temporary, even though it's challenging, you have to go through it. But if it's too much, it's better for you not to be near them. Take someone make sure that you will take care of them. So you see, and this is the extreme, how we should respect our parents in a way that you're never allowed to tell them you're wrong. Never. To your parent, to your father, to your even if you 100% know that they're wrong, you are not allowed to say it. So this is not a joke. I mean, it's not just a nice slogan, to put as a sign on the wall. When it comes to practical, it's hard. Therefore, Chazal says, Rabbi Yochanan said, you know what? In a way, I was an orphan from day one, but in a way, I'm lucky because I never was in these challenges that who said that I could stand. So those of us, Baruch Hashem, that we have parents, we have to take it now in account. And after the shiur, you're more obligated because now you know. Now you know. Yeah.
In case of a convert, does it count as not having parents then?
That's true.
Yeah.
In a convert, the person who convert has no parents. Has no parents. It's kekatan shenolad. It's like they born to Avraham Avinu. There is no obligation to the parents.
What about an adoption?
Obligation to?
Obligation is on her, not on her parents.
What do you mean?
The person that's
What is the case? Who got converted?
No, that's it. Right.
Oh, you got converted. In real life, or that's the question?
No, this is not hypothetical anymore.
Okay.
So the obligation's on her to do kibbutz avayim. She still has. You're saying
It's
the
nice.
obligation
You know what? Again, it's not the mitzvah of kibbutz avayim. It's not the mitzvah. Kibbutz avayim is only when it's your own parents. But it's nice to respect everyone. It's a human thing. You have to respect every human being. Of course, if they're your biological parents, even though according to the halakha, now you're newborn, you got a new neshama, you are actually, your parents is Avraham Avinu. Actually, I mean, halakha. But again, it's nice to be respectful. Of course, there are halachot that we didn't learn over here. It's relevant to Jews also. What if a parent could use this and say, you know what, let's say the child is keeping Torah mitzvot and the parents are not. You have to respect them anyways. Even if they mechalelei Shabbat, ochlim, ochel lo kasher, everything. You have to respect them. So what, in a case like this, that the parents will come to the child and say, right, Hashem told you in the Torah to respect me? Okay, drive me on Shabbos. Or make me a hot drink when you have to just be mechalel Shabbat for this. In this case, you're not allowed to listen to them. Therefore, in the Torah, as the pasuk that I mentioned before, it says, Ish imo ve'aviv tirau ve'et shabtotai tishmoru. What's the connection? You have to have awe from your parents. Ish imo ve'aviv tirau ve'et shabtotai tishmoru. So from this, the Gemara learned that if the parents will ask you to be mechalel Shabbat, in this case, you're not allowed to listen to them, but to listen to the Hashem that created you and them, and He commanded you to listen to them. Only when they ask you to do right things. If they ask you to do wrong things, you are not obligated to do. Of course, even in this case, you have to be very polite. Don't say, no. Just don't do it. With tact. Don't do it. But don't be rude. You're not allowed to tell them you're wrong. You're not allowed to tell your parents how could you over avera? If the parent is over avera, the child is not allowed to tell him anything about it. You're a bad person. How could you eat not kosher? How could you drive on Shabbat? How do you do be mechalel Shabbat? You're not allowed to do it to your parents because they're parents. Even though it's avera, you are not in the position to tell them what's right and what's wrong. Send someone else, but not you. So here we find the picture of practically what we have to do, and it's not easy mitzvah to do.
What
It's
about an adoption?
Not related. Adoption is legal, in the legal. They are your parents legally, but you're not. Only the biological parents. Yeah.
Is this to say you can't disagree at all with your parents on anything?
Exactly. That's
No,
what
but
makes.
I'm just saying, you have a grandparents like to spoil the grandchildren, right? So if,
Cookies for
yeah,
breakfast
exactly.
every day.
It's okay. You're about to sit down for dinner, and they're, giving them licorice.
Okay.
How do you
Respectfully, you could say, please. You have to be, very nice to them. You're not allowed to criticize them. You're not in a position. You could talk to them like you would talk to your friends. I don't think it's the right idea. What do you think? When you were in my age, you will let other people to give me
That's true. That's smart. Actually.
what? What did she suggest?
Should you say to your children, "I don't approve of this now"?
Remember, you can only
Let
have
them
one
respect
cookie,
you.
remember? And
Yeah.
the parents also.
If they get the hint, if they get the hint, yeah.
So, in the case of extreme abuse, whether it's physical or whatnot, how, and the person is still in the home, how can that apply when, if it's, a younger child or something, how can they say, this is not right?
They could not. They have to run away from the situation. They should not stay in this dangerous situation, but they are not allowed to talk to the parents not respectfully. They even
Throughout their life, even though, like, let's say, it happened for many, many years, like physical abuse. Like, how do you still reach that point to
Of what?
honor a parent after so much abuse has occurred?
exactly. Listen, respecting parents is only when you are near them.
Right.
You could just disconnect. It's okay to disconnect the connection with them. It's okay. But when you're near them, you have to respect them. It doesn't mean to love them.
Right.
You do not have to love them. There is no mitzvah to love your parents, especially if they're not nice.
Can
But
they
you
disown
have-
their parents?
What?
Can they disown their parents? Can a child just choose to disown their parents?
To what?
Disown means
Like,
have nothing
אני
to
לא
do.
שייכת אליכם כבר.
What that means practically? This is a declaration. What that
I'm
means?
saying, like, can you do such a thing?
You
Like,
have
if
to
you
just
adopt a child,
if
can you disown
again
your parents?
a little child in many cases do not aware even to the abuse, and even if I'm talking about someone who could be by themselves,
Right.
They should leave the house, disconnect. Of course, they have to take care of themselves, not to be abused. There is no mitzvah to be abused, of course. And more than that, you have to run away from situations that not right.
But the
But-
disconnect would cause you not to be able to honor them whatsoever. So if you have to help them with food or clothing or something, how can you completely disconnect in that manner? I'm just saying, worst case scenario, like how does a person say, okay, I'm disconnecting with an abusive parent?
There's
and then-
no need to declare it. You
Right.
just do it.
Right.
And you could take care through a third party. You could send someone to take care of them. You do not
Right.
have to be in connection,
Okay, that makes sense.
especially if they still abusive. If you just remember that they were abusive a long time ago and today they are not harming, it's a
Right.
different story. But if
Right.
they still harming or doing abusing, for sure you have to run away. Take care of them through a third party. You do not have to be in contact with them.
Right.
Okay, but again, all those details are going to questions that you have to ask a posek halacha that know the situation, because no case is similar to the other. And you need to know the entire picture in order to really give the right instructions what to do. Okay, so that's what we cover about this topic. And just putting it on the table is something important by itself. You have to know this is a serious thing. This is a real serious thing. And it's for the child, not for the parent. It's for the child to know this thing and try to apply them to your life. בהצלחה רבה לכולם. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect time.